In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, we celebrate 2 decades of YouTube, and the cast of Agatha Christie's Towards Zero is on. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I thank you once again for hanging out with me for another episode of Pop Culture Weekly. We have an awesome episode today. Did you know it's YouTube's 20th birthday? Like, that's insane. So we have Maddie Buxton from YouTube to celebrate 2 decades of YouTube and speak about some of the incredible pop culture moments. And then later in the show, we have the cast of the new BritBox limited series, Agatha Christie's Towards Zero, including Oliver Jackson-Cohen. Love him. That show is really good. I love a good mystery whodunit, and it does just that. But, all right, so first up, though, we're going to be celebrating the 20th birthday of YouTube. So joining us is Maddie Buxton, who's YouTube's trends manager, and we're going to dive into the profound impact on pop culture that YouTube has had. You know, so many viral videos, influential creators. YouTube really, it's transformed the way that we consume content and connect with other people, and even, you know, how we perceive fame and success, right? Like Mr. Beast. I mean, that's his, career trajectory is insane, and it all is thanks to YouTube. So, just some interesting facts about YouTube, because, I think it's pretty incredible. There are over 20 million videos uploaded daily to YouTube. 20 million. YouTube users average over 100 million comments on videos daily, every single day, 100 million comments. And YouTube videos receive over 3.5 billion likes from users per day. 3.5 billion likes. That's insane. There's over now 300 music videos on YouTube that are in the billion views club, including Madonna, who just hit it with La Isla Bonita, Adele with Hello, Rosé and Bruno Mars with APT. Oh, and by the way, Adele's Hello made it to 1 billion views in just 88 days. That's pretty crazy. So, in any event, just some cool, facts I thought were interesting about YouTube celebrating their 20th anniversary. Let's jump right in to my conversation with YouTube's trend manager, Maddie Buxton. All right, so I am here with Maddie Buxton, YouTube's culture and trends lead, and we are discussing and celebrating 20 years of YouTube. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining me. It's pretty cool because 20 years ago there was this 19-second video of a guy at a zoo or whatever, and now it's incredible what's changed and how big it's become. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we went from that 19-second video 2 decades ago to today. YouTube is the #1 streaming platform in the US. It's changed so much. Creators are celebrities with hundreds of millions of subscribers. It's just been crazy to see this kind of growth.
Yeah, and I actually covered a couple of weeks ago that for the first time ever, more people are watching YouTube on television than actually on, phones and iPads and stuff like that. How has that shift, and I'm kind of jumping way ahead, but I'm curious, how does that shift reflect what you have been seeing, culturally? In 20 years ago, we had to go on a browser or whatever and dial up on AOL or whatever it was. And, how is that, in your opinion, why has that shift happened?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Now that we're seeing that when people sit down on the couch and they turn on the TV, they're turning on YouTube. I think a big part of it is that there are so many different formats now. So you have traditional long form, but you also have shorts, which people are watching a lot on their TVs. You have live streams, you have video podcasts. So there are just so many different formats to be able to access, and people are looking to watch them across more surfaces than ever before.
And I know in my own life that that's true. You know, I mean, I have a 55-inch TV in my room, and it's like, well, I was watching it on my phone, watching YouTube on my phone, and then I'm like, wait, I'm in front of a giant TV that has access to YouTube. Why am I doing that? So I just made the switch myself, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, I mean, if you put on something in the background when you're doing things around the house, you know, it's our concept of entertainment and what entertainment is has really expanded. You know, it's not just things that you sit down actively to watch. Sometimes it's things you put on to help you relax while you're doing something else.
Yeah. So going back, you know, back to the beginning 20 years ago, how would you describe YouTube then?
Then we saw, you know, a lot of these viral videos, David After Dentist, Double Rainbow, Charlie Bit My Finger. They were very short. They were on the shorter side. And then about 10 years into YouTube's history, we started to see longer videos really taking over. And now we're back to having this very broad mix of all different lengths.
Yeah, I notice on my own analytics that there seems to be shorts people and then what I call like longs people. But then there's this mix who watch both. But I think it's interesting that over time, YouTube has become a place for all of it. You know, if you just want short little bursts, you got that. If you just want like, hey, I want to sit down for a couple hours and watch a documentary on bees or something, you got that too. Like, you know, it's really become kind of an all video, whatever your tastes are.
Yeah, it really meets you where you're at in that moment. And I think what we've seen with shorts especially is that a lot of people might find a creator, find what they're interested in via a short, and then go to long form to explore it in more depth.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, going back to the beginning, as we were talking about what YouTube looked like 20 years ago and some of the viral things that popped off, how do you see, you know, some of those videos that you've talked about were like main things in my childhood that, you know, were like everybody was talking about, and I would send it to my friends and, you know, and then we'd be double rainbow and all that. How, you know, then would you say that it was starting to ingrain itself in pop culture, not just ingrain itself, but starting to become pop culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw those early viral videos. We still see content that people are sharing with all of their friends and family, but it's happening within their community. So they're coming into these bigger moments through more personal entry points. So you might not see the same exact video as someone else, but you might become a fan of something because you saw a cooking video related to it and you're into cooking. So it's much more personalized than ever before.
And do you think that, you know, I remember back with Vivo, where Vivo was working with YouTube to bring all these music videos and that sort of thing. How much do you think like music, especially, you know, bigger artists, changed the trajectory, if you will, of YouTube, almost like legitimized it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so much. First of all, we've seen artists who were discovered and really born on YouTube, like Justin Bieber. And then you have videos like Gangnam Style, which became the first video to cross 1 billion views and then 2 billion views. And we've seen so much globalization of music through YouTube. K-pop really, you know, taking over. 9 of the top 10 24-hour music debuts come from K-pop videos. And that's because of their fan communities that live on YouTube.
And I remember, I think the band was OK Go.
Yeah, the Treadmills.
Yes. Where like, that's the first band or act that I remember that like legitimately became a star, legitimately became a household name from their YouTube music video alone.
Yeah, I mean, music videos became huge for artists to be able to tell their story, to connect with their fans in new ways. And that's still the case. The music video is more important than ever.
And speaking, I'm obviously a huge pop culture fan, and we touched with music and such, but film, I noticed that even back then, 20 years ago, it was kind of a cursory thing of what we have now, where people are debuting, feature films on YouTube. But it gave an avenue, in my opinion, and still today, but especially then, where there weren't a lot of outlets, it gave an avenue for people to kind of explore and get their camera or whatever and kind of make these movies that wouldn't be able to be seen otherwise, How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think YouTube created the partner program, which was the first way that creators were able to make money just by uploading videos to the internet. And that's really formed the basis of the creator economy that exists now. And to your point, we see so many different formats that never would have had a place on traditional broadcast TV, but have become massive on YouTube. Things like ASMR, those whisper videos that are helpful for some people for relaxation. Yeah, with the mic, exactly. Get ready with me videos, these things that are very established formats now, but that never existed or would have existed before.
How have you seen, obviously with movies and film and television and everything, from a viewer perspective anyway, I had noticed at some point that, companies, these giant, I don't want to say I hate the word legacy companies, but traditional media companies were spending a lot of money and a lot of time, and still to this day, to give content in order just to promote their new project, whether it's a movie or a show or whatever. What do you think that shift was for them to be like, this is a viable, huge, potential audience that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise? Is there a first that you can kind of think of that kind of, open those floodgates?
Necessarily a first, but I think there are two big components here. One is that creators are now mainstream celebrities. So for big Hollywood productions that want to promote their films, celebrities are going to interview shows like Hot Ones, like Chicken Shop Date, and that's where they're doing their promotion because they know that millions of viewers are going there. And then there's the component of fan communities and how fan communities exist and engage on YouTube. And I think companies have recognized that if they want to reach these fan communities, YouTube is where they need to do it.
Mm. And for you, on the YouTube side, how has it been to watch, because YouTube invests a lot in small creators. I know, I'm subscribe to the creator channel and get all kinds of tips, and I get an email every week and all of this. Did you, as creators became such vital components of YouTube and these kind of powerhouses on their own outside of a traditional system, did that take YouTube by surprise? I mean, because obviously it's, audience-driven content, but if I was back then, I would never have thought Mr. Beast is going to be this giant mainstream celebrity in 10 years. You know what I mean? Was that a surprise on the business side?
I wouldn't say it was a surprise because we've always known that the heart of the company, the heart of YouTube, is the creators and how they've built their communities, how they've built their production studios. I think seeing, creators like Mr. Beast who have hundreds of millions of subscribers is incredible. That scale is almost beyond belief.
Yeah.
But I I think we always knew that creators were going to go mainstream and become big celebrities.
Yeah, it's interesting, in my opinion, because, where there are some very, real biases towards certain types of people, I think, in traditional media. Often there's many female, especially, artists of a certain age that feel that traditional systems kind of block them out once they get to a certain age. And on YouTube, I was watching this 80-some-year-old woman, the other day playing Xbox or something on, and I'm like, that's awesome. And it's kind of become, in my opinion, a great equalizer, because to me, I don't, as an audience, I don't care what age they are or, any of that stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm like, if you're making great content, whether it's, on a movie or playing Xbox or whatever, awesome, I'm going to watch it. And to me, it has become that equalizer. Anybody at all can get on and use their iPhone or whatever and post to a potential audience of insane numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I also love a gaming 60-year-old in Australia named Food for Dogs. She's amazing.
Oh, I'll have to check her out.
Definitely check her out. But I think the beauty of it is that people are ultimately just sharing what they're passionate about, and they're connecting with other people wherever they are in the world who share that passion. And that's something that's much more personalized than you ever would have gotten on traditional TV.
Yeah. And, if you look at the numbers, I mean, I saw that YouTube is right after Google, is the number one most used search engine in the world after Google, yeah. Which is pretty insane if you think about it, because that also brings up the aspect of not just the pop culture of, flashy movies or skits or whatever, but how-tos and that sort of thing. I would never have changed my, I forget what they're even called, the wiper juice in my car. You can tell I have no idea what I'm talking about. I used to roll down the window and have the juice and just pour it on the windshield and then turn my wipers on. And then I looked at a YouTube video and I'm like, okay, this isn't bad, and I now I can do it. Don't know what it's called, but I can do it now. And so it's interesting that, that's also been a huge factor, in my opinion, in YouTube's explosive, growth, is that besides the entertainment factor, the educational factor,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I go to YouTube to learn so many things, but I'm just trying to install something in my apartment and the instructions as they're written out aren't clear. If I search for the brand, I know that some creator is going to be showing me how to do it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the educational content is a huge factor of it. And I think one of the exciting things is that educational content has become entertainment in its own way.
Yeah. There's so many things I feel like, obviously, that when I was a kid didn't exist. And YouTube has become a place where there's, a whole new, I don't want to say generation, because it's not necessarily generational, but there's a whole slew of content creators out there that are filling those spaces for those types of things, no matter what it is you're looking for. I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, exactly. Finding your community, even if, you might not know people in real life who share the thing that you're interested in, but on YouTube, you will find that community wherever in the world it is.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest pop culture moments that, you think are notable over the last 20 years? From YouTube?
The last 20. I mean, one is definitely Gangnam Style hitting... Yeah. 1 billion and then 2 billion views, and really kind of changing the music landscape, bringing K-pop over. One of the beautiful kind of full circle things is that Gangnam Style's record for being the fastest K-pop video to hit 1 billion views was actually broken this year by Apata.
Love that song.
From Bruno Mars and Rose. Yeah, very catchy. But we continue to see those records being broken. We continue to see creators like Mr. Beast really breaking through, going to Hollywood. And right now, I'm really interested in indie animation on YouTube. There are a number of animated series, Has Been Hotel, Amazing Digital Circus, that are building these massive fan communities on YouTube and really becoming mainstream.
I love that. And again, I keep coming back to that, but that's one of the amazing things, in my opinion, about YouTube is that if you have a passion, you don't need to hope that you're discovered or whatever. And you could be in some no-name town in Indiana or something and get this content that you're so passionate about and you love and get it out there to an audience that you wouldn't have had a chance to before,
Yeah, you can bypass the traditional gatekeepers.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? I've noticed, obviously, I have a podcast with iHeart, and we've been getting into video on this end. And I've noticed, obviously, as a fan of YouTube and as a professional podcaster, that YouTube has been investing heavily in podcasting. What are some other things that like that YouTube thinks that is at the forefront? Because I noticed that YouTube has never been afraid to try things, whether they may work or not. They were doing original content for a while, which I had a number of the, casts of those shows on this show. And what are some things like that? Or is it podcasting? Is that going to be the next giant, boost with YouTube?
I think it is podcasting, video podcasting. I think we're already starting to see it where podcasters are making news, where presidential candidates are going to creators, going to podcasts to give interviews instead of going to traditional broadcast networks. And because they allow such a conversational and they allow for a different kind of connection than you would otherwise get. So definitely video podcasts. And I think we're going to see a lot more growth in the live streaming space. We're already starting to see creators in places like Brazil who are live streaming major sports events and having the rights to broadcast those. So I think that we'll see a lot more in that space.
I love that. That's exciting. And where do you think YouTube's going to be in the next 20 years?
Oh, that is crazy. I think, this month we surpassed 20 trillion uploads. So wow. I'm hoping that in another 20, we have 20 trillion more or even more than that. And I think that we're going to see just even more evolution of the creator class, the creator economy, and creators as celebrities, shifting what we think of as celebrities and what we think of as entertainment.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time. And I'll see you back in 20 more years.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day. Maddie Buxton. Super, super interesting. I love YouTube. And maybe you don't know, but if you don't, please head on over to YouTube at Pop Culture Weekly and check out my content. I do a lot of not just the video versions of these interviews, but content that you won't find on the show, on the podcast, like movie reviews and stuff like that. So I think you'll really like it. Let me know, subscribe, and then let me know that you're coming from the podcast, and maybe I'll just shout you out in an episode. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into the mysterious world of Agatha Christie's Towards Zero. Welcome back. Are you ready to sharpen your detective skills? Because I've been buzzing lately about this fresh take on a classic, iconic mystery. Yes, we are diving headfirst into the brand new Agatha Christie's Towards Zero, the limited series that is exclusively on BritBox. So it's set against a backdrop of these simmering family tensions and these hidden secrets at this insanely gorgeous and lavish seaside estate. It's got all kinds of twists and turns and all the captivating characters that you would expect from Agatha Christie, right? But it's brought to life by these amazing actors. And the story is amazing, and I love mystery and whodunits, but the actors are really, really incredible, and they just bring it to the next level. So first up, we are shining a light on the fantastic performances from Mimi Keene and Anjana Vasan. These two brilliant actors are key players in this intricate plot in Towards Zero. So let's chat with them now, Mimi Keene and Anjana Vasan. Welcome, Mimi. Welcome, Anjana. I gotta ask you, what is it like working on a story from such an iconic author like Agatha Christie, and how do you find ways to put your own take on these characters?
It's obviously daunting because you are thinking about taking care of so many different aspects of that, I think, like being respectful and loyal to the story that's so loved and so well known. But then at the same time, not wanting people to just be like, oh, it's the same thing, and you're just repeating something that someone else has done. You need to find a balance, I think, between those two things. And I think that, the writing and the directing, that was what made that happen. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. So I don't think I could take a lot of credit for that aspect of it. But I don't know if I took anything. If I took anything, it would probably be just life experience, probably in the modern world, to kind of add a more modern twist, because I feel like it definitely had, that was the main difference, is that it had like a more modern, sexy energy to it. And I feel like you can just take that from being alive today. So that was my input to trying to stay loyal, but also make it fresh and make it exciting. But I can't take credit for most of it, because it was really just a lot of other amazing people.
I think there's a reason why Agatha Christie is so popular, with every generation, but also across cultures. Like, my grandmother from India loved Agatha Christie. And she's not, first language English speaker. So it's a testament to her characters and her writing that when you hear Agatha Christie, it comes with so much history and love that obviously, as you say, it's daunting to step into. But it's also very exciting. So for me, it was like, as a fan myself, it was like a bucket list moment to get to be in a murder mysteries, because I enjoy murder mysteries myself. So for example, that scene where Inspector Leach is interrogating me, that was the moment I had when I was like, oh my God, I am in an Agatha Christie murder mystery. Like, this is the scene that I feel like I'm watching myself be interrogated, and I'm getting very excited by the fact that I'm in this story. But in terms of the trick to approaching something like Agatha Christie, I think because it has so much history to it, the only thing that you can do, as Mimi said, is to approach it as yourself, because you can do all the research into the period and the time, and you can watch the other Agatha Christies, and you can do all your homework, so to speak. But at the end of the day, what makes her writing brilliant is that she is really just creating a story where human emotions are competing with each other. And I think to approach it as in a modern way, in a fresh way, is to bring your own vulnerabilities into it, and to approach it like, as you say, how you would in 2025 approach a scene. And that's just as important as the costume and the how you hold yourself and how you move.
And the accent.
Yes, all of that is important, but those are just trappings. Those are just like what an Agatha Christie looks like. But it's more important to think about what it feels like to be in an Agatha Christie, rather than just the aesthetic. And I think the fantastic thing about this is that it was so well cast, and there's a great group of actors that to do that was very easy, because you turned up for work and it was a great group of actors making it look easy and make you look better because you were acting opposite them. So I think we were very lucky in that regard. We found a really good team.
We did.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Anjana. Have a great day. Can't wait for everyone to see Agatha Christie's Towards Zero. Mimi Keene and Anjana Vasan. I can't wait till you watch Towards Zero so we can talk about it. I just can't talk about any part of it yet, especially on the show, because, it's like spoiler heaven with that. So talk about it on the side. Hit me up on social and we'll discuss it. All right. Next up, we've got the amazing Oliver Jackson-Cohen. I love him. You've seen him give us chills in The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor and making us rethink everything in The Invisible Man. I love his take on The Invisible Man. But anyway, starring alongside the amazing Oliver Jackson-Cohen is the brilliant Ella Lily Highland, who recently captivated audiences in 15 Love and Black Doves. So they add yet another piece to the puzzle of Agatha Christie's Towards Zero. So let's jump into it. Oliver Jackson-Cohen and Ella Lily Highland. Thank you both for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. First of all, congratulations on Towards Zero. It is so awesome. I feel like we don't get enough of these kinds of projects anymore, So it's like a treat, to me anyway, when one comes along and it's so good.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's
kind.
all because of us. We will take full credit.
What's it like to work on, a project like this that, I feel like at least in America anyway, we don't get, these kinds of like high quality mystery type of things that really, literally have stood the test of time. Is that part of the allure for both of you?
Yeah. I think you kind of have to forget that it's an Agatha Christie because it has such a weight and tradition and you almost I don't know, dig yourself a hole of fear. And do you know what I mean? You kind of have to look at it like it's just a new project because it is in a sense. And but I think she's just such an incredible writer, and that's why she stands the test of time. And she's, the way she writes about people and the psychological aspect to something like a murder mystery and the tension and the stakes and stuff is what makes it really enticing. But I think you kind of just have to forget that there's loads of people being like, this is really important, because then it becomes scary to do.
How about for you, Oliver?
I'm really sorry. What was the question?
I think I complicated it. Didn't I? Just went off on it.
What was the question? Oh, I was saying, with such is part of the allure of taking on a project like this, that it's not, and I'm a huge superhero fan, but it's not like this big blockbuster flashy. It's really just great storytelling, this like murder mystery that has stood the test of time,
Well, I think, to kind of do exactly to what you're saying is that, good storytelling is good storytelling, and that's kind of undeniable. And so there is a sort of real deliciousness to a murder mystery, because you're sort of, as a viewer, you're sort of an active participant in it, because you're constantly trying to figure out, with any kind of whodunit. And so there's something quite enjoyable and satisfying about that. But sort of being a part of a story like this, as Ella said, Agatha Christie, there's a reason why nearly 100 years later, we're still doing these adaptations and we're taking these stories. And what's interesting about Towards Zero, it's a much lesser known book and a little bit off kilter from her sort of previous stuff, which perhaps was a bit more formulaic in tone. This feels a very, very different kind of departure in terms of the sort of the back catalogue of her stuff. And so ultimately the allure is kind of this, really good storytelling, these kind of fascinating, deeply complex and convoluted characters and dynamics that are at play. The kind of premise as a whole of these people who go through this incredible, public divorce, this scandalous divorce, who, because of his infidelity, they remarry, and then he goes and spends his honeymoon and invites his ex-wife on this honeymoon, is a kind of quite far-fetched idea, but also a genius setup for any kind of chaos that could ensue. And so it's the perfect setup for a murder mystery. It's the perfect setup that all of these people come out the woodwork. And that, I think, is what's so satisfying about storytelling when it's done at its like highest level, as Sam's kind of done with this.
I love that. And I always wondered, I'm not an actor. I was in a small part in Selma, this movie Selma.
Oh my God, really?
It was amazing. Yeah, very small part. But that was my, experience with acting. And what I always find interesting is, as a fanboy of, me being a pop culture guy, it's exciting for me to watch, this story unfold, right? How about as an actor, are you able to kind of separate, okay, I want to know what happens next and focus on your character? Or are you also like, okay, I want to know what happens next,
Well, I mean, I feel like with something like this, because it's a limited, it's 3 episodes. We were handed the scripts right from the get-go, so we knew everything was sort of written. I mean, a lot of it was rewritten as we went, but
we knew what happened,
we knew where we started. We knew kind of where it would end. And so in terms of that, I think. It's an interesting one, I think, for anyone that's a part of a murder mystery where everyone is a suspect. That's the kind of interesting thing, is how much do you show, not necessarily for an audience, because that's all to do with how they edit it and what they end up showing to an audience, but as actors, I think the interesting thing is how much of a mask. You spoke, about masks, these masks that people put on, and how much of a crack is there? Is there a crack? What are you showing? What are you lying about? How are you lying? How are you telling the truth? Are you really good at it? So it's all of those kind of intricate things that I think as actors are really good fun to play.
Totally. I think you just need to be present as well. You can, in your prep, you can search for the end and know what the end is. And I think it's good to know what the end is because, so you can act it. You're not like, it's not a real thing, you kind of have to know. It's like different parts of your brain. You can know something, but you have to play the present, and what the character is experiencing right now.
Oh, that's a really great point. Yeah.
Because like I remember having a thing before where I didn't know what happened in something, and I found it really jarring when I found out, because I my whole character development and study had to relate to that, because you have to go to why that would happen to the beginning. Do you know what I mean? So it changes. But I know maybe some people like that method, but I'd find that really unsafe, I think, because you kind of have to know. But I think it's really important that you're just playing what's happening right now. Which, and why I love Leach's character so much in it, because he's kind of discovering everything in real time, which makes him kind of really magnetic to watch, because he's literally discovering things presently. And I think someone could be doing the most mundane thing, but if they're being present, that's what makes us attracts us to it,
Yeah, for sure. Thank you both, Ella and Oliver. Thank you so much. I can't wait for everybody to see Agatha Christie's Towards Zero. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Oliver Jackson-Cohen and Ella Lily Highland. Great chatting with those two and the entire cast of Agatha Christie's Towards Zero, which is available right now exclusively on BritBox. It is really good. If you love a murder mystery, if you love a whodunit, you'll want to watch this one, believe me. And then after you watch it, hit me up so we can talk about it. All right. That is our show for this episode. As always, I thank you for hanging out with me, spending time with me, talking pop culture. Let me know what you think of this episode. Let me know what you think of YouTube trends. What are some of your favorite moments in the past 2 decades of YouTube? And let me know what you think about BritBox's Towards Zero. It's so good. I can't wait to talk to you about it. Hit me up on socials at Pop Culture Weekly or at Kyle McMahon or whatever, and let's talk. All right? I love ya. I see you next week. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Towards Zero's a mystery. All the characters you don't know who did it. And you'll be guessing the whole time. 'Cause it's Agatha Christie.